It's 2025, yet it feels like things are going backwards when it comes to women, when it comes to diversity, when it comes to equity, especially in the workplace and beyond. I thought that by now a lot of things would have changed. We would see a lot of equality, diversity, inclusion in the workplace and beyond, especially in the Western world. I know the world is very big and there's a lot going on. And right now, we're going to talk about what isn't popular. We're going to talk about what inclusion, what equality actually looks like, and how government should really be supporting us. It really is actually something that will benefit society. If we have women that feel empowered, that will trickle down into the economy. A lot of studies have been done already. What else do we need to say to prove that offering opportunities to women is a good thing? Making sure that companies have a board, have the C suite, have the leaders that look like the people that they serve. That is a good thing. What are we getting confused here? You know what? Let's get into the episode. Welcome all to our financial wellness podcast, From Roots to Fruits, where we nurture our roots to grow more delicious fruits. I'm your host, Arlyne. Let's get started. So today we are going to be talking about financial wellness. We're going to be talking about financial inclusion, how we can help ourselves, we can support ourselves as women, and how systems can be improved as well to offer up that support to just aid us. So it is International Women's Day on the 8th of March, and this episode should be out before then. So if you're watching it in March 2025, really please take everything into account. If you are a woman, then look up how you can improve your finances. And if you're an ally, if you're a man who also wants to support the women around you, send them, a link of this episode, as well as just take on what we're saying and see if there's something that you can do to help others, to help other women. Before we get into the episode, I'm just going to talk about an event that we are hosting on the 15th of March in London, Shoreditch. It's all about growing your wealth. We are going to have amazing speakers come and discuss how to start property investment, how to invest in stocks and shares, and also just how to manage your finances. So we will be touching on budgeting, paying off your debt, savings, that sort of thing. It is going to be an amazing day, comprehensive. There's a lot of information that you will get, and it's going to be good vibes. If you saw the footage from last year, or if you came to Empower Her last year, you know that the vibe is going to be positive. We want everybody leaving feeling like I gained something there and I met some cool people, I met some smart people, and I'm going to make a positive change in my life. So if that sounds like something that you will enjoy, please check us out. The link is in the comments or the bio, wherever you are watching this. Definitely have a look at the event and let us know if you're interested, or if you have questions as well before you book it, feel free to email us. But I look forward to seeing you. Now, let's get into the episode. We are going to be talking about wealth and wealth for women specifically, and just looking at the statistics as to why. We all know the history of the world. A lot of women around the world do not have rights to set up bank accounts, rights to even drive. There's a lot of things happening in the world right now, let alone in the UK, where I am currently filming this and where I live. We know that women couldn't open bank accounts until the 1950s, which is absolutely crazy that there's a woman alive right now who couldn't open a bank account unless if it was their father or their husband doing it for them. and owning property was not a thing for women, and we didn't have the same rights when it comes to going into the workplace and earning the same as men. Now things are changing. I want to touch on the gender pay gap. So we have the statistics here, and studies show that women on average retire with 35% less wealth than men. And this isn't an episode to talk, this isn't a negative thing towards men. We're just saying that we want to see equality for all. So when I am comparing women versus men, it's not a competition. It's not to try and bring men down. If anything, it's just trying to bring women up. We are all about empowerment. So let's look at that gender pay gap when it comes to pensions and when it comes to just general wealth gap. This is something that is caused by women not being in the workplace for as long as men, especially because if they are the ones that are taking time out to raise children, then that is kind of increasing that gender pay gap. Also, when it comes to opportunities and when it comes to having the confidence to go for certain job roles, some women are not, in the right rooms, they're not getting the opportunities and they're not climbing as fast as men. Things are changing in some industries, which is really positive. But overall, we're talking on average, we're not really seeing an impact there. So I just wanted to touch on that first to say that how can women start to increase their wealth? And I believe it starts from education. I believe it starts from empowering women to just understand how can they manage their finances, giving them the confidence to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to watch this video, I'm going to attend a Roots to Fruits workshop or wherever you want to learn about managing your finances. And I'm going to sit down, create a budget for myself, create a plan, whether that is just you or with your family, even better, so that you can empower each other. That's the first step. Just recognizing that I need to make sure that I have a grasp over my finances. So start off with having a financial goal. I mean, if you do not have a goal, how do you know where you are going? Before you set off from going to work or traveling to another city, you tell yourself that, okay, today I'm going to go here. It's going to take me 20 minutes, and this is the route that I'm going to take. I'm probably going to need some snacks. Who else am I going with? What's my budget looking like? So that's what you need to do as well with your finances. Set yourself a goal so you know, okay, this is what I'm working with. In 2025, to be able to pay off my debt, that's a goal. How am I going to do that? So you sit down and then create a plan. But without having a clear goal, a goal that you can really track to say, okay, by this date, I want to have paid off my debt, then how are you going to track it? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to sit down and you're going to write down your goals, short-term and long-term goals. What's the difference? A short-term goal is a goal that you can achieve within 12 months. And your long-term goal is a goal that you'll achieve in maybe 3 to 5 years. You can choose how long you want to set it. So you sit down and then you start writing down your goals, and then you identify whether it's a short-term goal or it's a long-term goal. For example, if you want to buy a new house but you do not have any savings and you need to clear up your credit score, that means that actually that's a long-term goal. It's not something that you could achieve this year. So maybe look to achieving it in the next 2 years. Be as realistic as possible. And also feel free to use some tools. So there are loads of planners out there. There are loads of tools, handy notebooks that you can download to identify what are long-term and what are short-term goals. But I will highlight the Roots to Fruits workbook. It is available for you. There will also be a link. Now that you know your goal, we can start to talk about the budget, the dreaded B word. Actually, it's a positive thing. Having a budget is not something that will restrict you. It's not something that is meant to Limit your spending. If anything, it is a tool that you can use to track your spending. I am a qualified accountant and I worked in finance. I have been working in finance for 15 years now, and we would budget in every organization that I was in. We will set a budget about 18 months before the year even starts. We're thinking about the following year. And this is a tool that is used to kind of determine what are we going to do in the next year. And it's linked to your overall goals. So remember step one, you set your goal. Now, step two, create a budget for it. So if we stick to the original example that I set in terms of clearing some debt, identify how much that debt is. Okay, so if it's £5,000, for example, how long is it going to take you to pay off? First of all, you need to know how much is available in the first place, and you can only do that by setting a budget. So what does that actually mean? Okay, so to set your budget, what you could do is use the 50-30-20 rule. This is a rule that is spoken about in loads of different finance circles. It's not the only one, so you can choose to use a different ratio of how much you set aside. So with the 50-30 rule, we're saying 50% of your income needs to go towards your needs, and these are your fixed expenses. That's 50%. And then 30% can go towards your wants. So that could be food, groceries, Netflix subscriptions, going out, that sort of thing. That's 30%. And then 20% needs to be set aside for your savings, paying off any debt, or investments. So you can sit down and work out what that 50-30-20 looks like. Again, we've got a workbook that could help you out with that, or you can sit down and do this on your own with a pen and paper. But I really advise that when you're setting your budget, you just have a bit of a check to see where most of your money is going and where you can try and save it, and also how you're going to achieve paying off your debt if that is your quick break to talk about Roots to Fruits and all the amazing stuff we've got in store this year. So we have workshops, we've got coaching sessions, and we've got in-person events. So check out our website to find out which is the right solution for you. We're also on social media, so you can interact with us, comment, send a DM, whatever you'd like. I also like to tell you about our digital learning hub, where we've got all the tools. We've got workbooks, we've got Excel documents on there, we've got videos to talk you through how to do certain tasks depending on the module that you would like to focus on, whether that is saving, paying off your debt, or if you'd like to just have a general pulse on how to budget. We have all of that for you on our learning hub. So follow the link and see you there. For us to grow our wealth, we need savings and we need to start investing. So I'm going to touch on savings first, because there is a difference between saving and investing. So saving is more of a short-term goal. When you save, you're essentially having an amount ready for a specific goal. Maybe an emergency fund, you're saving to buy a house, you're saving to go on holiday, you're saving to buy a car, whatever it is, you're saving for your child's, school fees, whatever it is. There's usually a goal attached to it, and it's usually in short term to medium term kind of time period. However, investing is something that is meant to be done for a long time period, because that's when you really start to see the returns. And this is something that is done really carefully because your capital is at risk, whereas saving is put into a bank account and that is protected. So you are not meant to lose your money depending on where you're investing. So if you are in a country that protects it in a bank, then great. So the difference, just to summarize, between saving and investing: saving is usually short term to medium term, whereas investing is a long term goal, it's a long term thing. And usually you invest in certain assets that will appreciate over time. So when you are saving, the idea is that you want to have an emergency fund. What does this actually mean? Have you ever had a time where you maybe the car broke or the boiler broke or you need to buy the kids something or you need to fly somewhere to go and visit someone last minute but you do not have the funds? An emergency fund is meant to be able to cover that. It contributes directly to you having financial wellness, and it really affects your mental health if you don't have funds to do something and maybe there is a time pressure, it's really stressful, but you don't have the money. That's when people start to feel the stress. So having an emergency fund really heavily benefits you, it benefits your financial wellness. So I really advise you to sit down once you understand what your expenses are. We talked about your fixed and your variable, your needs and your wants. That 80%, what is that? Okay, let's call it £2,000 if you're living in the UK, if you're living in London, for example. Okay, so £2,000 every month, you need that. Try to save 3 to 6 months worth. So 2000 times 3 or 2000 times 6. If you have that saved, maybe if you're laid off and you're looking for a new job, you won't be as stressed because you've got that saved, you've got that put away. So that's the next thing. If you're growing your wealth, if you want to be financially secure, you want financial freedom, you need savings that are accessible. Whereas investments, we talked about them being long term. Therefore, you've invested in an asset. It usually takes a little bit of time to get that money out, which is why we don't call them savings. It's an investment. So you can invest in loads of different things. We are going to be talking about this at Empower Hair. We're going to be talking about investing in property. We're going to be talking about investing in stocks and shares, investing in business, and investing in yourself as well. I won't go into too much detail, but there is a link below when I spoke to Myron Jobson, who is an interactive investor, senior investor analyst at Interactive Investor. So check out that episode because he dropped some really good gems. And I think, yeah, we can all stand to learn something. And also, there will be more episodes to go into detail. Lastly, if you are going to grow your wealth, you need to have paid off your debt. Look at what's your debt profile. So we're talking about credit cards, we're talking about loans, we're talking about student loans, we're talking about mortgages. Yes, there are some debts that, okay, we're locked in, this is going to take a number of years to clear. And then there are some debts where we can really just clear them. Things like Klarna, those little things that are racking up the interest, and you could just pay off so that it's not eating into your disposable income. So to clear off debt, we've got some hints and tips and some action items here because it is one of the biggest barriers to financial freedom, and things like credit cards and the interest that you can honestly rack up is something that we don't want, especially if we want to grow our wealth. So here's what you're going to do. List out all your debt and work out what their interest rates are. So you can use one of the two methods. You can use an avalanche method or a snowball method to then pay off. And do not worry, we have also a video of one of the workshops that we hosted last year with Finance is Fun with Rate. She beautifully explained how you can pay off your debt using one or the other. So if you're using the avalanche method, then you want to pay off the highest interest first. However, if you're using the snowball method, you want to pay off the smallest debt first. One or the other works for different people because of their incentives, their motivation. So if you're paying the highest interest first, that means that you are, essentially saving from the amount of interest that you're paying off. So that is the one that I would choose because ultimately it's saving you the most. However, the snowball method, it makes you feel better when you've ticked something off. So if you pay off the smallest debt, then it's like, okay, I don't have that credit card anymore. Tick, move on to the next one. So just see whatever motivates you the most, which one works with you. Our last tip when it comes to growing your wealth is to just continuously educate yourself. Continue to seek out the information that you need. You don't know what you don't know. So there are quite a lot of workshops that happen, whether they're online or in person. You can check out our Reach to Fruits workshops or anybody else, to be honest, whoever resonates with you. Look for what you need. There are also a host of books that we have shared on this platform in the past, and I shall bring out a book that I'll recommend as well so I don't forget. Also, loads of podcasts too, loads of videos that are completely free for you to learn how to better manage your money. And yeah, so that's what I would say. Continuous education, continue to improve, learn, and also share with people that you know that it might benefit them as well. We just need to talk about finances as much as possible so we can demystify them. Okay, so instead of recommending a book, actually, I'm going to recommend a platform or a personality. So this person's called Myron Golden. He is a motivational speaker and he is someone that is empowering people to just get out of the rut that they're in and actually attract abundance and attract finances. So check him out. I love listening to him on TikTok. So have a look. Here, so I would love to share a case study for someone who actually achieved their goals last year. They started working with us in 2024, early 2024. And I won't share any names, of course, but this person is in their mid 30s and used to live paycheck to paycheck, despite earning a really good amount. Because remember, it doesn't matter how much you earn, what matters is how well you manage it. So she took control by creating a budget. We supported her with that, a budget that aligns with her goals, paying off £8,000 in debt in 1 year. And they also started to invest about £200 per month in stocks and shares because that's what they could afford, with the hope to invest more later on. And they also negotiated a £5,000 raise in work. Yeah, so I'm so proud of that case study because that is someone who was really low in confidence, and we are all about empowering people to better manage their finances. And yeah, they had their goals in check, they stuck to their plan, and she achieved financial wellness. So I hope that could be you. Let's continue to empower each other. There's a lot of noise out there when it comes to empowering women, but as long as we just steadfast and we know what we're trying to achieve and we continue to support each other, I know we can take this as far as we can. Just continue to be hopeful, continue to be positive, proactive, and actually take action towards your financial freedom. That is it for today. That is all for us today, guys. Join us next week for some more seeds to sow. And please remember to support us by following and leave a rating on our show on whichever platform you're listening to us from. To those watching on YouTube, please leave a like and a subscribe to our channel. All of your support goes a long way. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, keep shining.